As we're covering an R-rated film, this episode is also a little on the R-rated side. Plus, Dave's mic is completely bollocksed. So bear with us. Thank you.
It's the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys. I'm Eric. That's my pal Dave. Before we begin, we got some shout-outs to shout out this week for people who have been shouting us out on the IG and different places like that. We really appreciate it. So specifically from Instagram, we got Saka Comics, we got Aaron Smarter, King Judge 187, Web of Omnibus. Thank you so much, Web of Omnibus, for those awesome videos that we collaborate on. That's awesome, great. Man. And of course, the one and only BC Scrubs, who shouts us out every week before and after we do our episodes. And if there's ever something that is uploaded, he always lets whoever follows him know. We really appreciate that so much. So shout out to BC Scrubs. And do we have a mailbag this week?
Well, speaking of BC Scrubs, and also speaking of mailbags, and also speaking of ball bags, I'm gonna open a little thing. It's a mailbag moment from BC Scrubbage.
It's very
from his home planet of Australia.
Honestly, right? It's the one part of the world that feels like it should just be on another planet.
It's so only ever in Mad Max. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. It's in Neighbours. This is seriously the first. So, Scrubs, thank you so much for sending this. I have not opened this. This is not a cheat. Whatever my reaction will be, even if it's massive disappointment, will be at least genuine.
Yes. He said it has to be real.
Oh!
What do we got? All the way from Australia.
All the way. Not halfway, because that would be in the ocean.
All the way. Right?
Oh, this is great. Like that time I met that guy in those toilets. Right.
I don't even want to know.
That was a joke, in case you know.
What do we got?
Oh!
It's like a map.
I'm going to... Oh,
Declaration of Independence?
Dude. This is amazing. So it's... there is a letter here, and I've not read the letter, but here is a Big Barda print. Scrubs knows I'm a massive Big Barda fan.
Wow, that's awesome. Beautiful.
Now, it's signed. This incredible Big Barda print is by Lily McDonnell, who originally comes from New York, but now lives in Melbourne in Australia, where Neighbours comes from. She's known for her work on the Marvel Tarot deck. Oh, seriously? Cadbury Dairy Milk Carmelo Koala. It's the most Australian-English crossover of all time. It's Cadbury's and Australian chocolate. Oh, I love chocolate.
That's awesome.
Hang on, there's more than one print.
Oh wow.
I'm a little emotional. I'm gonna try and contain myself because this is a Nicholas Scott piece, and I love Nicholas Scott and I love Zatanna.
Oh, that's awesome. Very nice, BC Scrubs. Lovely, 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 lovely.
That's great. So sweet. Oh my God! There's a illustration in gold at the top from Nicholas Scott. It says to Dave, and it's Zatanna, and it's Nicholas. Look.
There you go. Nice, a little Zatanna on the top. That's great.
You bugger! You know I'm an emotional bastard. I'm trying to be cool. Dear Dave, thank you for your friendship, for all the amazing work you do for the Omniverse. I hope you like these tokens of my appreciation. I spoke to Nicola about you, and she remembered the video she and I made for you. I got a... Right, okay. I had to explain. There was one morning, I was getting a call, and it was like, why am I getting a call? This is random. And it was about 8:30 in the morning. I was very hungover. And, surprise. And... I was going like, what's happening? And I was hanging up, and it turns out it was BC Scrubs trying to get hold of me on Instagram. Going like, I'm talking to Nicholas Scott, and he was at the Comic-Con with Nicholas Scott, and he's trying to phone me, and I'm in the nip.
Dave, just wandering around the floor and ran into some random lady that wanted to say hello.
Hey Dave, how you doing? Hope you're sleeping through all of these phone calls.
Yeah,
and
sorry,
maybe we'll see you in the UK one day.
Awesome. There you go, buddy.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's so surreal.
That's lovely. That's so cool.
Do you remember the video I made for you? I asked her to add a remark to the poster, which she kindly did. Oh, buddy. And she kindly signed it as well. I'm putting some Aussie chocolates in the form of caramel koalas for you, for girls.
That's so nice.
For the girls. All the best, mate. Cheers, Ben, a.k.a. BC Scrubs. I'm a soft git, you bastard. Thank you. Scrubbers, you bugger.
Oh, BC. Well, that's the show for this week. We got a mailbag. Dave can't speak it.
I can't talk anymore.
This week we're going to do something a little different. We both happened to watch the Deadpool Wolverine team-up movie, Deadpool 3. I don't know what it's technically called. I think it's Deadpool Wolverine. Yes. We don't usually do movie reviews. We did the one, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So, Dave, you being a guy that you're not really like, as the comic book aficionado you are, you're not running to theaters when movies come out. You really couldn't care less a lot of the time. If you see them, you see them.
Stopped. Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Where did you stand on the Deadpool franchise before this movie came out?
Well, when we did our Deadpool versus Wolverine episode, I said on there, I'm quite excited about this because it seems like they're going to have a lot of fun with it, and I'm not going to retract that. It seems like they had a lot of fun. So the first film I didn't like. Deadpool wasn't Deadpool to me, and even though I know that he wanted to stay very true to the character, part of the thing with Deadpool is I know this seems probably really minor. But he should look messed up. Like, you should see his teeth through the hole in his face. Like, he's meant to look like a zombie. So he's like an extreme version of Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, nothing ever goes right. For Deadpool, it's so not right that it's beyond screwed. You know, if you go right back to the old Mark Waid stories, the early Joe Kelly stuff, that's who he kind of was. It wasn't necessarily the original Liefeld stuff. I don't know who Liefeld originally had him in his mind as like what he'd appear as under the mask, but the way the character developed was like I looked like a messed up, like it was always normally Shadow, you know, whereas in the first film it was like he's slightly buggered, and he's also with he's successfully with this woman. You're like, like that's not. He should be so beyond the pale. So beyond the possibility of redemption and success. That is Deadpool. Even if he wants to be better, it's impossible for him. Whereas it just felt like, okay, he looks a little screwed up, but hey, he's got the girl. Like, there should be no success. There should be no redemption. But the fact that he's trying is the point. So 2 did that a bit more. And also I think 2 was just genuinely funnier. It made me laugh out loud. I don't laugh out loud watching stuff. I laugh out loud in conversation with people, but I won't laugh out loud watching something. But this one, I laughed twice at the beginning, and then I never laughed again.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You have a much more reasonable reason for not liking the first movie, as like, this is what I know of the character. This is what I was looking for. For me, it was, I just didn't like Deadpool because of the kind of the cult of Deadpool in comic book fandom.
So outside of comics.
Yeah, where it was like people who didn't even really like comics like Deadpool. He was kind of like that character. It was not comparable, but I guess it's like I already deal with this with Batman, and I love Batman. He's one of my favorite characters, but there's a whole separate entity of comic book fans that are just Batman readers. Like that's all you need to read. And it kind of felt like that in a way with Deadpool, and I didn't see what the big fuss was about the guy. And the other thing that I would complain about was kind of somewhat Puritan, but I didn't like that they needed to, like, it's rated R and it's so filthy, and it's like kids play with these toys and they play with this character in video games, and you go to a store and kids buy these comics and there is no swearing for them to see.
No, but it's also normally quite messed up. You know, it might not be mature readers, but I think that's the weird thing with this. It's like it's a grown-up sense of humor, but completely immature. So who's the audience? And that's the thing, who's the audience? So if you're going to strike the balance right, I want some koala chocolate right now, so bad. If you want to hit the audience right, you have to strike that balance perfectly, and it's almost impossible.
Omega Bread has entered the chat.
Yeah. So Bread nails it. In the movies, he looks like a handsome Freddy Krueger instead of a mess of pustules, rotting skin, and gaping holes. Think the bit that I can't read out loud because it will start a war. I think one of the things that sums it up for me is the thing that sums up for some people why it's so good. And it's the meme with Leonardo DiCaprio, where you see that. Yeah. I get that reference. I get that reference. That's why I hate it. And I don't dislike it. I hate it. I hated this film. I was so annoyed to be present at it. It wasted my time. Like I could have been doing anything right now other than this. And I'm sat here watching you self-congratulate. Like, if I want to watch someone self-congratulate, I'll go to Amsterdam.
And now we get to talk about how much we love it, Dave. That's awesome. No, listen. That's why I like our partnership, because it's the back and forth, the challenging of it. And I don't necessarily disagree with your opinion, even though I did enjoy the movie. And going back to what I was saying about the first film, I was just hating on the character in a lot of ways. Like I never read anything about the character. I just had like a position where like, I don't like Deadpool, and that's it. He's not for me. I'm not that kind of but then when I read him in Uncanny X-Force or Deadpool Cable, I gave the film a chance. And now that I know a little bit more about the character, not being a long time reader of Deadpool, so I don't have as much to pull from or as many things to be precious about, because you make a good point about how his face should look. And of course, the movies are always gonna I don't know what the right word is, but like clean it up in a way that, you know, they put the X-Men all in leather suits because blue and yellow costumes and things like that would be too jarring.
Which made perfect sense, you know,
at the time.
But at the same time, didn't the yellow and blue costume work on Wolverine in this film?
100%.
Did you find the mask work though?
I found it weird because they've made it weird. And that's what they've made it weird by never just honoring it. And that was the thing that separated for me in the early years of the MCU, because I'm not as much on the bandwagon of the MCU anymore, but as it was happening and unfolding and leading up to Avengers and things like that, it definitely influenced my desire to want to know more of the history of these characters. Like, I want to read Winter Soldier. They're making a movie about it. I want to read what it's inspired from. I want to learn more about Thor or Iron Man. Like, why are these characters actually interesting? But it just made me say, like, if you would have honored the X-Men from the beginning in a way that Marvel did, they didn't put Iron Man in something that was more palatable or like, that makes more sense. Let's make Batman's suit black.
No, but with Iron Man, you can make that Adi Granov costume, that the way the covers look, because he did the realistic covers. He did the realistic looking suit, and it was based on that, and it worked.
I do appreciate the movies now, and I also feel like, in a weird way, Ryan Reynolds was like, the whole purpose of his life is to play Deadpool, and it's almost like Deadpool was created so that Ryan Reynolds could play him one day. It's such a it's a perfect,
absolutely should.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's ever been a more perfect like character out of the comic books in real life that you'd be like, yeah, that's who it is.
Chris Evans, Captain America.
Pretty good too. Or is he a better Johnny Storm?
No.
Do you think it's more the fan service that they're working with now, or the motivation for
mostly
certain
for
things?
this? It's going to be for this because that suits the Deadpool motif in theory, but I think this film would have been better if they hadn't done it. So I think, like, just don't do it. Give people a story first. The story should come first.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. Oh man, I guess because of the amount of fun that they allowed it to have. Like, if they agree to being in the movie, we could do this. Which, to an extent, I don't know what is happening anymore with these movie universes, because things change depending on who's cast and who's becomes persona non grata, that they change the entire design of the MCU. But is this the final movie of the Fox franchises? Yes. And this is their swan song. Yeah. So I mean,
I think
in a way it was a nice that was cool about it, because I was surprised. I as soon as I saw Chris Evans, I didn't think he was Captain America. I had a feeling that he was going to be Johnny Storm, just for the sake of the surprise factor and the laugh of it and whatever might come along. So I said, okay, that's kind of cool that anything could happen in this story. With Deadpool, he's the one character who I felt all of the self-indulgence and the, bombast of it and the fight scenes and the music montages. Enjoy. He's the one character that could get away with it because he is the Ferris Bueller of Marvel. He's
the Ferris Bueller of Marvel.
Yeah, he's the break the fourth wall constantly. Like you're in on it with him and no rules apply. Right from the first movie where he's going into that surgery and he specifically references Green Lantern. Like it's the one place where you can get away with misbehavior.
It is, but they didn't do it as frequently as they did in this one.
Well, yeah, this one they went balls to the walls.
But to the point where it lacked any meaning. It's like, sorry, I've eaten chocolate on a podcast. It's the worst move. Was I excited to see Gambit played by that guy that I can never understand Channing Tatum. I can never understand what he's saying at the best of times. So actually, that joke didn't work on me. Was I excited based on the fact that he wanted to play him and it was mentioned in Wizard in 1998?
I think he was actually cast for it. I think they were making that movie. It was.
I don't give a fuck. It's not interesting enough to fucking watch him be unintelligible on screen because he is anyway. Like this isn't. He didn't look good. This was an exciting moment. I saw some of his training stuff. That's really cool. Like that he did that. But that scene wasn't entertaining.
So it's funny because I think there was a moment when he was looking for an alternate Wolverine, where as a comic book fan, especially having some of the conversations we've had in the last few months leading up to that movie being released, I was like, oh, like, hey, that's cool. Like there was a couple times where I was like beside my wife. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty neat that they decided to like even show that. I guess because at the end of the day, I do feel showing like a little bit of fan service doesn't bother me when it's done tastefully. Doesn't bother me. So was there a Wolverine, an alternate Wolverine that you were kind of like, well, that's kind of cool?
Patch. But that's the point. Like the X-Men 251 cover with him on the cross. Do you know what's quite funny about that? A friend of mine said to me, so hang on a minute, what was that about? Literally earlier tonight. What was that? Cheers, John. Well, he said to me, so hang on, where did they get the wood from? Because that's a lot of wood to cart around. So I'm like, well, I wouldn't think about it that much. So they had to get two massive bits of wood and cross them over and then nail him to how did that work? It's like, don't ruin it. This was just, here's a bunch of references and here's some more references in a different situation. I don't care. Make me care about the characters and I'm in. It just went, here's some more, here's Blade. I could go and watch Blade.
Yeah, it was definitely, I guess, giving. The one thing I liked about that part of it is it concluded all of these stories. It put a bow on what once was. It ends it once and for all. Gives a little tip of the hat. Even I think it was cool to see Wesley Snipes' Blade because had it not been for a movie like Blade that predated some of these other superhero movies, like it kind of kept something alive.
But what could you watch to appreciate that truly? Just watch Blade.
For sure. And again, it's fan service, right?
But so it's kind of like thing. It's just
that's the thing. It was a thank you to everybody who's been on this ride with us all this time.
Yeah, but I paid 14 quid for that. Thank you.
I know, but the point. But see, for some people, they just want. Like for me, I said it hit the spot. Now, was it my favorite superhero movie? Not at all. But I laughed at some of the stupidity. I did laugh at some of it. Well, you go in with the right mood. You'll laugh at stupid things.
Sorry.
Right? I was excited to see Wolverine in the yellow and blue. I thought that was cool. The fight vignette. It was kind of like watching Rocky 4. It's very, very, very simple plot, but it's just Rocky music 4? Montages. The movie Rocky?
Which one's Rocky 4, though? Who's he fighting Rocky 4?
Fights the Russian.
Is that 4?
Yeah, it's
That's
just an MTV
one.
music. It is.
Sorry.
But it's just an MTV music video, right? It's
just James Brown.
Yeah.
Was that not 3?
No, that's with Mr. T, Clubber Lang.
I thought that was 2.
No, 2. He fights Apollo for a rematch.
Really?
Yeah.
I've remembered Rocky all wrong.
But Rocky 4 is when he... So it's like these music montages that get you kind of like in the zone of whatever is happening.
Yeah, but it's not just a music montage with Rocky, whichever one it is with the Russian, because there is still that thing, even though it's got the James Brown thing, which is a fucking awesome song. There is an element of story in there that draws you in.
I don't disagree with you there. I got to the end of the movie kind of like, what was the kind of story again? But I had fun along the way with it.
I envy you.
Yeah, I did have fun along the way. I did enjoy the Wolverine montage, the little callback. Like, it was cool to see Age of Apocalypse Wolverine in live action, Patch in live action, the cover of the Incredible Hulk with the claws, and just the little things that, as a comic book fan, I'm like, oh, that's cool that as he's going through multi-dimensional places, that's what we get to see, to be like, that's not the Wolverine that died in Logan. So we're going to have fun with this moment. Let's have a moment to have a little fun. But because it was incessant and constantly, and then it's like, what's the point of this fight scene now? Like, we just finished a fight scene. But it's Deadpool. I didn't really expect more or less from it, to be quite honest.
That's fair enough. When it comes down to it, these aren't my kind of films. So if it's too stupid, I'm not going to care. Bear in mind, I love the Jackass films. That's a perfect area for me in terms of just dumb, stupid entertainment. I love it. I will laugh hard. It's great. But it's real because they're doing this to each other. Whereas this is like an acted version of Jackass, which like isn't real. I think one of my favourite films of all time is the Grand Budapest Hotel. And it's so surreal and weird and bizarre and well written, but there's also a story, even if you're kind of going,
likes that movie too.
Oh, it's so good. That is so good. She's got great taste. Well, she married you.
Thank you.
There is a beautifully constructed story that's also not so linear and obvious that you're kind of going and you're waiting for it to play out. And not everything should be that complex or that clever. Not everything needs to be. Some things are just stupid fun. I think this for me was so beyond stupid I couldn't latch onto it in any way. But I wanted to so bad. I really wanted to. I wanted to go there and just laugh at stupid shit in a Jackass way. And instead I felt like the Grand Budapest Hotel audience going, oh, this is just puerile. And I felt like a cock for it. So.
That's so funny. A cock. Horror. A horrible cock.
Hey, there's not. Well, I was going to say there's such things as a horrible cock, but I'm sure there are some horrible cocks.
You know what? I didn't really expect that much more from a Deadpool movie, and because they went the last hurrah and they just threw everything at the wall, I said, whatever. Like it didn't bother me. I didn't find anything, because I've been coming around to the character, and two, this was the one time where I felt that they could get away with this kind of style of movie. When they tried to do that with Thor and Love and Thunder, I found it offensive as a fan of like those stories and yeah, I just was like, okay, I get it, you can make him funny, but this was the one time where I'm like, okay, this is where we could just do fan service, I guess, for the next 2 hours. But there wasn't much of a story. I don't think going in there, I overthink things when I watch stuff, but I don't think there's any need to overthink this. This is just pure popcorn, stuff your face, don't think about it, go with a buddy and get inebriated and watch it, and you'll laugh.
Yeah.
It's really what this is.
It's just the stupid elements of the stuff that you probably like from the first couple.
It's a Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ryan Reynolds stuff can be smarter than this, but he just didn't go that route. I love that you got something from it, and I envy you for that. I will never get that £14 or those 2.5 hours back.
Everybody who's hung out with us on this Twitch, we hope you've enjoyed it. Don't let your kids watch this episode. Dave, don't edit it. Other than the time, even when you went to the bathroom, just keep it for what it is.
All right,
this
deal.
is the Deadpool Wolverine episode. Ridiculous. Everyone who listened with us on Twitch, thanks for hanging out with us. We love everybody. And on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Or maybe we're going to get reported. I don't know. Probably not. Visit the Omniverse Comics.guide for your comic book reading guides. Just a guide to that.
Yeah,
Not your shower
comics.
guides. Just comics, podcasts, and everything that you love about comic books is there to help you on your journey. As Omega Bread said before, for comic book fans, old and new.
Yeah. Yes.
That's your spot.
Very much so.
Dave, go take a shower. Be nasty. Expect Dave to hate it quite as much. But I'm not surprised he did either, and I love how much he's disliked the movie. It's hilarious.